But I do feel like when I was more intentional about the things that I wanted, everything started to happen, right? In the way that it should. So I would say definitely network, get connected. Like, don't stay in your bubble of just the basketball team.
Right.
But then just also like take the life lessons that comes with basketball, the discipline, the knowing your personnel, having a diverse skill set, because that's going to just help you further propel you.
Welcome to another episode of More Than 94. I'm your host, Nene, and it's here where athletes redefine success. And today's guest, we have Jasmine Nolan. She is a former athlete of Arkansas State University, a wife, and a mother of 3. Welcome to the podcast. Oh, and the previous co-host to More Than 94. Well, that's a discussion for another day. But welcome,
Right.
welcome to the podcast, Jazz.
Thanks for
I feel
having
like
me.
we needed this because I feel like we have good discussions, but it's always with like when we were, interviewing somebody else,
Yeah.
or it was offline or something like that. So I figured we at least have one episode, and the people want to know. The people want to know about
I
Jasmine.
don't know if the people want to know, but I appreciate you for having me. I don't know. I really don't know if the people really want to know, but I appreciate you for having me.
I feel like they should
After,
know.
we kind of, because we did a few episodes and then we kind of fell off because life.
Life is
And
life.
then I was like, the time,
The
like the
capacity.
time.
You ain't got the capacity. It's fine.
Fast. Like I have to, yeah, yeah.
You got 3
hmm
kids. Listen, and a
Three
whole husband.
kids and a whole husband
There you go.
and
There you
a
go.
mother and sisters and brothers and all the things.
All the other things.
All the things. Yeah.
And a personal chaperone, all that stuff. But anyway, um, kind of walk us through for the people that don't know. Kind of like walk us through how you started with sports and how it like progressed from being little to all the way to college.
Oh, take you through the whole journey. Okay, let's start like just where back. Like my family, for one, is a basketball family.
Yeah.
If you remember at Arkansas State, you would hear my mother. Like my
Yes.
mother literally had fans because she would be yelling
Yeah,
on
she
that
had
at the
her
side. And
own little
Big
section.
D. Big
Yep.
D had like they had their section, and then my mom was like right there at the bottom
To the bottom of
with
the
my
student
siblings
section.
at the student section, and she would yell. I remember one game she was like, "She's not doing anything. Take her out the game, coach. Sit her on the bench." And I'm a whole adult. Like, how tall do you think you're grown? I was like, and I remember walking up the steps, and one guy was like, I can't remember his name. He was like, "Your mom's not here tonight," and I was like, "No, she's not here tonight." Like, but so my whole family is a bass family. My cousin, so I have a cousin, Natasha Byer. She won 2 championships with the LA Sparks. My cousin Jalen Fisher played for TCU. A lot of my cousins played basketball.
Yeah.
And I was the biggest tomboy. I grew up with my 2 cousins, my 2 boy cousins, and 1 girl cousin. But I always gravitated towards the boys. I was the biggest tomboy. And one night, it was like late one night, and I asked my uncle. I was like, "Uncle, like I want to learn how to dribble between my legs." And I was 5 years old. I literally stayed out there all night until I got it. And he watched me. And he was like, "Nope, keep going, keep going." And from there, having a basketball family, just practicing, it just took off. I played little league, I think at like 6. And I was always pretty tall. People thought I was gonna be like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
But I feel like I was like 5'7" since I was like 9, and I just stopped growing. But introduced to basketball from my family, played at 5, 6, joined the rec league team, and from there I was just really good because I always played with the boys. I
Yeah.
never wanted to play with the girls. I always played with the boys. I was rough. I like to horseplay. I like to fight. All the things. So played when I was 6, and then I think I started playing AAU around 9 years old, and so I played up, and I was pretty decent. I was pretty good. Um, never really much of a shooter, but I always had like good basketball IQ. I just always had a love for the game. Michael Jordan was one of my favorite players, and I always said that I was going to be the first girl to go to the NBA. So like that was my goal. Um, so played AAU, got introduced. I played, like I said, I played up. And then I was getting a little bit of playing time, but we had a point guard on our team. Shout out to Latoya Bullard. She was one of the best point guards I've ever seen in my life. She got hurt, so she didn't really. She ended up going to Florida. She got hurt, so she did not like you didn't see her through her journey. But when I tell you that girl could go, Nene, she could go. She could go.
Did she even play the rest of her career? Like she just is done?
After college, she couldn't because she had a back injury, like a spine injury. She couldn't risk it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
she couldn't risk it. So I played up, and then I ended up playing down to my actual grade level, and that's when I got the confidence. And I was just dominating. Like my basketball IQ has always been like really high. Always pretty skilled because I just practice. I love being outside playing with the boys, and then from there it just took off. So AAU, middle school. I remember middle school we won the state championship my 8th grade year. We literally had 24 points. I had 23 of the 24. Low scoring game, but it was funny because we played. Cause I'm from Memphis, so we played a school called Kirby, which one of my best friends went to that school. And it was like I went to a little school, you know, it was very much like a sprinkle of black people. And so they saw us walk in the gym and they're like, okay, like we're gonna dominate them. But they didn't know they had Jasmine Taylor or Jasmine Nolan on the team. And I literally like carried my team and we won. And to this day I think they changed the school, but at one point, like my jersey and stuff was like hanging up in the manors because I was
Hall of Famer.
Who's there? Yeah, I mean I'm not a Hall of Famer like you, but
they didn't retire your number unofficially.
Yeah. In middle school, and then from there, I mean, it's just like like I said, I played AAU, so AAU we were the best team in the nation. This is actually when AAU was AAU.
Yeah.
And you didn't have all these EYBL stuff. You know, you went to Florida. You had to compete. We were the best team in the nation, back to back. And then when we did play, we came in like 3rd, 4th place all the time. We had some really good girls that can go on our team too. Yeah. But I was the starting point guard, and I just fell in love with basketball. Like I said, we're just a basketball family. You know, my son plays basketball now, and ball is life. Ball is life.
Ball is life, for sure. So how did you know, like, when did you even want to go to college? So, like, was that on your thing? Because I feel like when I was playing basketball, I honestly wasn't like, college wasn't the goal. I was just out here playing, and then I started getting letters, literally. So what?
Really?
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like, I didn't know. Like, I knew I was good.
Yeah.
I knew. But let me take that back. I knew I was good enough to play at a D1 level, right? Like I knew that for a fact. The only thing, as you know, I was missing was a jump shot. Okay. Yeah. We know that. But my basketball IQ was so high. I defended well. Yeah. Like to play within the system, like I knew that I was pretty good. And yeah, I knew I wanted to go to college. I knew that my parents couldn't pay for it. I was always pretty smart, so I took advanced courses, AP courses, all the things. I knew I could get an academic scholarship. But wanted to play on the next level, so I definitely wanted to go to college and play basketball. And that became more apparent because I didn't, and I was so mad at my mom. She recently moved, and in the attic we had like 3 garbage bags full of college letters. Nene, you knew it was a big deal when you were like getting the handwritten. Like I started getting, you know, the little interest letters, and then once you get the handwritten letters from like LSU, Pokey Chapman, Ole Miss, all the things. I was like, oh,
I don't know what mine is.
Like I think I'm good, but y'all think I'm good too. Okay.
I couldn't tell you what mine are either. I don't know where them things are. I can't, and I wish I would have saved mine.
Really? Because I wanted my son to see. I wanted him to see. Because, you know, he's like, Mom, well, you play at Arkansas State. It's a mid-major, and you only average X amount of points. But I was like, I was good though.
Like you the true point. But that's the thing. Like
Yeah,
there's no
I'm
such
a
thing as a
true
true
point guard.
point
Like
guard.
everybody now is like score, score, score.
Score.
But
Yep.
I was a true point guard.
Yep.
So yeah. But no, I always wanted to go to college for sure, and I knew
Yeah.
that I could play on the next level. I just didn't want to go. I knew that I had kind of fallen out of love with basketball, and I knew like just like I said, my cousin, she won 2 championships with the LA Sparks.
Yeah.
I knew that the pay wasn't where I wanted it to be, like what I wanted for the lifestyle that I wanted. And I was like, I don't want to do this like full time. So I didn't want to go to a school that was like so heavily focused on like ball. It's like I needed a balance for sure.
Balance. Yeah. But people have to. I think that's what's missing. Like you have to be real, like honest with yourself. Like what do you want to do? Like because basketball will end, so you can't. It's nothing wrong with you going in with that mindset. Like okay, I'm going to go to this school just because I know like I'm here for school for real, and then after this, like, I'm not going. I just want to do this on the, because I was taught school first, then basketball was a bonus. So
for sure, always school first. Like your mind is something that no one can take away from you. So school first always. Because what if you get hurt? I always tell my son that, like, what if you get hurt?
Yep.
What if they don't think you're, whatever? Like you need to be able to use your mind and think and all the good things. So yeah, for sure, for sure.
So during college, we know you didn't had the whole landing, like kind of walk through that because that's tough. And then you came back.
College. So we you're my teammate. Teammate. Arkansas State. So I landed at Arkansas State. I was being recruited, I would say, by like the mid majors, like Arkansas State, Euler. I remember when I told them that I was going to Arkansas State, they were like, "You're not even going to take our visit." I was like, "No." I'm like, "This is close to home. It feels good." My mom see me play. My mom has always been my number one fan. So I'm like, "No, I'm gonna go here." And I like the coaching staff. I felt like I felt like I would play too because I've never been one of those players to ride the bench. I've always been a starter. Yeah. And even when I came in, I remember because we interviewed B. Hiles, and she at one point even C Star. I don't think they liked me because you interviewed. Like she was like, "You came off too cocky," and I was like,
they for sure didn't like me then."
Huh?
I said they for sure didn't like me either.
Oh no, I'm sure they didn't like it.
But what about hold on? Did you get recruited by Middle Tennessee though, Jazz?
Okay.
Yeah. Huh? Did you get recruited by Middle Tennessee?
No, you know what, MTSU, because we actually used to play like Shelbyville and those girls. No, not really. No,
okay. No. I didn't know if that was closer for you. Would that have been closer?
They have gotten letters, but they weren't like heavily recruiting me.
Okay.
No. I forgot who they had signed in here, but she was pretty legit. Like,
because y'all had a tough class, so that's why I was wondering if they had a good people in your class.
Okay. No. Yeah, but ended up landing at Arkansas State. I thought it was a really good fit. Freshman year, I did not start in the beginning half, but towards like the middle, or maybe not, maybe a little bit sooner than the middle half of the season, I was starting. But we had like my freshman year with Rudy, Allie, Adrian Davey, all those girls, Kelsey Locke, like we were pretty solid.
But how did you started as a point guard? Or
yeah.
So they moved. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like they moved Rudy to the 2.
But she was a 2. Rudy's a 4.
I know she was scorer, but I thought she was a point guard this whole time.
I mean, Rudy was. I feel like Rudy was maybe a little bit shorter than me, but I mean, she was a scorer. She could slash, she could 3, she could do all the things. So having me at the 1, I was able to
get her the ball.
Now when they played a zone, it was like, hey, take her out. But if you play man to man, not take her, but if you play man to man, like it's
downhill, you're fine. Downhill, you're fine.
Yeah, like as well as I could see the court and basketball IQ. We had shooters, Allie, Rudy, Adrian. I mean, you know how Coach B to do that seal. So I mean, it was easy. Like that was easy work. Yeah. I can't remember whose. I don't know whose position I took, but I took somebody's position.
Because
But
I'm
yeah,
trying to
I
think
was
of the
sorry.
point guard. Like I don't remember a point guard outside of you and Rudy. I thought you backed her up, so that's why I was like,
Brittany,
who?
Brittany Hiles, B Hiles.
Brittany was not no point guard, was she?
B Hiles was a point guard. Yes.
I feel like she was like the two.
No, she was a point guard.
Oh.
Hey, friend. It's mom life. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I get it. And he pointed at it like.
But yeah, I don't know why I thought that. Anyway.
No. She was a point guard. I can't remember. Man, I don't remember who, but I can't remember who, to be honest.
Yeah, because by the time I got there, yeah, I guess she wasn't. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So that was freshman year, sophomore year. We did well again. I can't remember. Some of this stuff, honestly, is a blur. Junior year, that was the year. No, so yeah, the end of my junior years, that's when I found out I was pregnant with Landon.
Okay.
And I remember I had to tell my mom, of course, and I was just crying.
You know what I remember? I don't even know why I was here in this spot at this time. But it was what's your friend name? I forget.
Which one? Carrie.
I think maybe she was doing my hair. Maybe she was braiding it. I don't know what she was doing. I don't even know how I got to her house or her apartment. It was on Johnson.
Yeah. She did everybody's hair.
Yeah. But she was like, Jess was like, he's like, I remember you telling us, like, maybe he was in the locker room. I don't know where he was at. But she's like, you were like, I did a dollar store pregnancy test. She's like, you didn't want to believe it.
Why do you remember that detail?
Yes, I remember that.
I did, and I think because I was like, no, like this can't be true.
She's like, a dollar store.
Take a dollar store test, like this thing. I was like, you know what? It's the dollar store. Maybe this is accurate. And no, I do remember that. Yeah. No, I remember that. And then no, I remember. And I had to tell Coach B. And I remember. I mean, I don't want to put his business out there, but we both boo, like we cried. And
I don't know. I wouldn't have even thought. I would have, like, for sure he cried. Like, there's no doubt in my mind I knew he didn't cry.
And I don't know. So I don't know if he cried in the sense of like, because we were supposed to be really good. That year. Because Ebony had said, I feel like, because remember, we had hit the weight room pretty hard, because that's when you, Angie.
And that's when I think I was healthy for the first time.
Yeah, like everybody. We were supposed to be really good that year. And I think so. I think it was a combination of, we're supposed to be good. Yeah. You're my point guard. Fuck. And then, can I curse on here?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. And then, sorry, I have a potty down. And then a combination of shit. I don't know if she's ruined her life. Like,
I think so. I think he did care. Like, I feel like he did care, and I feel like he was crying because he's like, "This is my time to win a conference championship over Euler." Yeah. Because we could have.
I feel like in any year, like that was the year that we could have won it for sure.
I feel like we had those years, and then somebody messed it up. Either somebody was hurt. I was hurt for like 2. I was hurt 4 years. I don't even. Remember.
Yeah.
And I had like 1 year that I wasn't hurt. Then I got those stupid blood clots. It was just another thing after another thing. And then you got pregnant. You came back, and I was like, after you came back, like, what are we like at this point? Like, Jazz was just here to get her scholarship.
You know what? I was, but I wasn't. Like, for sure. I mean, I wanted to fulfill, like, I wanted to finish and get it paid for. But I still, like, had, like, just me and who I am as a person. Like, I still gave it my all. Because I remember when Coach Ray saw me, and she was like, I don't know if you remember, but I got really small.
Yeah, like, you lost a lot of weight really fast.
I was like a 12, and then after Landon, I was like a size 0, size 2. And I was a little offended because she was like, girl, you need to eat or something. I was like, y'all, I have a baby. Yeah. I'm in school.
Right.
I have a whole baby. I'm majoring in chemistry. No knock to all the other majors, but chemistry, I'm majoring in chemistry.
Yep.
We're traveling. We're running. We're practicing. We're doing the Warrior Mile. We're doing all these things. I have all these obligations. Yes, I'm not eating all the time. So if I'm a size 2 and I look crazy, then
when you lose all that weight so fast, I feel like even when you're pregnant, like the first one, I was like smaller. I was real small. But the second one, they did
Yeah.
not. That stuff did not go nowhere. It stayed for
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
I feel like that first one, because your body just don't know. Like you ain't never had a baby before, and it just. But yeah,
Yeah.
you
So
did
it
get real
kind of
small.
just like it's shocked. It's like kind of
Yeah.
goes, it reverses back. But after
Yeah.
you have multiples, it just the weight just gets harder and harder and harder. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm finally now. AJ is what, 3?
Yeah.
I'm finally now at the point where I'm like, okay, like I feel like I'm starting to get my body back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That sounds about right.
yeah,
3. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that was the Arkansas state. I had Landon, and it was a lot. It
I
was a lot
bet.
for sure,
I bet.
for
Because
sure.
I'm a 30-year-old with a child. Like, I would have never. That's tough.
Yeah,
That's tough, especially coming
yeah,
back. It'd be different if you was like that was your last year, but like coming back afterwards, I feel like I would have. It would have been tough. I don't know if I would say I wouldn't have done it, but it would have been a real struggle. I feel like.
yeah, for sure it was. And I didn't know. Like I have the of course, like as you get older, you mature, you have more wisdom, and you have the words and the knowledge to kind of understand a little bit better. But during the time, I was just literally in survival mode. So I
Yeah.
didn't know like I was going through postpartum depression. I didn't know like
Yeah.
I was going through all the things. I was like, that's why I'm like, even sometimes when y'all tell me, I don't remember some of it because
You
it was
probably
like I was
now that
just
you say that
happy
you
to
probably don't.
survive.
Yeah, because you was just
Yeah,
head
yeah.
down. Yeah, you gotta hope. Yeah,
Yeah, my head was just down. I was like, dude, I just got to survive. I have to graduate. This has to happen.
yeah,
And yeah.
yeah. Because that could have been a setback for a lot of people. Just been done with it. As yeah,
Yeah, that's what my mom, because initially she was kind of like, what are you going to do? Because she was like, are you
yeah,
going to take your scholarship? Like all the things. So,
yeah.
I mean, I was grateful for the fact that, I didn't get my scholarship taken and I just had
And
to
they couldn't.
be,
No, legally they couldn't. Just FYI.
yeah, okay. I didn't even, I don't think I looked into it legally. I think
Yeah,
after
he
me
couldn't
and
have
Coach
done that
Jordan,
because just like guys get girls pregnant, and they might be on the team, they
yeah,
don't get kicked off, so they can't. They can't do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And it's,
So,
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, you're a young woman, it can happen.
yeah, for
I
sure.
do wish, hindsight 2020, I do wish that we had better resources
Yeah,
because there
for
was
sure.
a lot of things that I had to figure out on my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially,
yeah.
but then I look back because I was just reminded the other day, and I didn't even realize it, Jazz. You don't think about certain stuff and you playing, but none of our coaches had families. You think about it, none of them had kids,
No, they
and I
didn't.
never was
They
who
didn't.
just said that the other day. I was like, I didn't even realize. Like, you never, it never crossed my mind to even think about it. Like Coach B didn't have
You know
kids,
what? They didn't. They
Coach
did
Ray
not.
didn't
And
have
that,
kids,
and
Peeps didn't have kids. Um, who else came? Larson. Sullivan, nobody had kids. So how was they gonna say? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are they gonna? They
they
don't have
didn't
that
know.
perspective.
It was like they didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
No,
Because
no.
I remember when one of the coaches made that comment to me, and I was very offended. Like I'm trying to survive. So yes, if I look like I'm a size 0, a Skeletor, it's because I'm trying to survive, and I have no
Yes,
resources,
and I
and I've
think
had to figure things out for
because
myself.
they don't know what it is to have a
Yeah,
child.
yeah,
So I didn't even but I didn't even realize that because you think like I just never obviously. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but like I just didn't think about them not any of them have kids when they were our
yeah. And
size.
I mean, it's not like ideal, right? Like you don't think that you're gonna go to college and within that 4 year span that you'll have a kid because that's
Right.
not ideal, I guess, quote unquote path. But you just never know what's going to happen. But I will say, like, I'm glad that I did stick to my guns and I
Yeah.
had Landon because that's been one of my biggest blessings for sure.
Yeah.
And seeing him just kind of go through the journey now of being in high school and trying to, go high level D1 and all the things, I'm just like, oh.
Tell Linda ain't nothing wrong with a mid major either. So no, hey, don't knock the mid majors.
I mean, no. It's nothing wrong. But no, there's nothing wrong with the mid major. But I will say, I like the fact. So for me, I talked about just wanting to not go to a school. I knew I didn't want to go to like a UConn,
Yeah.
right? Like I knew that the work was just totally different. It was
Yes.
all
Right.
basketball was life.
Yeah.
But for him, like that's what he's there. Like that's what he wants to do, and
Yeah.
he wants to, take it even further. So I'm like, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, then we're gonna have to work. and he's willing to do the work. Like he, of course, a scholarship is a scholarship. Don't get me wrong, but at least like we're setting the goals now, so we know how to navigate this thing. Because it's like at least we have a direction. If we didn't have a direction, it's like we just Because that was the thing with me when I grew. Like I always played ball, and in practice, I'm always gonna be first one in sprints. I work hard. I'm a workhorse.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm not getting any extra reps because I just kind of fell out of love with basketball, and I thought that I was good enough, I guess, in a sense, to not have to do that. But in order to be great at something, it's those daily deposits. You have to do the work, and I think
and there's to speak to that though. Like I tell people all the time, like it's different than when and then you play into it. But like my 50% probably beat a lot of people 100%. Like
facts. So, like no, facts. And then like you literally came into Arkansas State with that mentality. Not even your 50s, not in that sense, but just saying like you knew who you were. Like you knew you were hurt. Like you knew you were good. Like you.
And I knew I would play at Arkansas State, so that's what I'm saying. I picked the school where I knew I would play at, and then I'm just like, but again, it's just what you want out of it. So like I knew I didn't want. I had no dreams of trying to go WNBA anything, and then I might have like maybe overseas, but then after I started getting hurt, I was like never mind. But so it's just just what you want out of it really. And I just wanted to keep playing till I didn't want to go somewhere and sit 4 years. I could have went to a Texas Tech, set 4 years, set 3 years, and then my fourth year, like, oh, she's good. Yeah, I didn't play against everybody that was great at practice. By the time I get on the floor, I should be good.
The service is going out. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Still can't hear
me? Now your screen is frozen too, so I don't know if it's gonna mess up the video quality.
On my end, it's still frozen.
Yeah. I can't it's going in and out. I can hear you a little bit, and then like your quality your.
How about now? No.
That's better, but it's still like fuzzy. Like the quality is a little fuzzy.
It's not. So we can keep going because on my end, like what I'm saying, it's not fuzzy.
Okay, it's better. Okay. It's better now. There we go.
Okay, I don't know what happened. My bar's here, but anyway, So it just what you want out of it, and that's And I knew I could go to Arkansas State and play right away, and that's what I was like.
I mean, you came in with that attitude, like we know, you came in, but I didn't have a problem with it because I'm like, if you're good, you're good, like I just wanted to compete. Like I don't have a problem with you, Yeah, like you were a competitor. I remember, like you were a competitor. You and Angie were competitors.
Yeah.
And if anything, it's just gonna make you better. Like I don't want to play on a team full of like pansies who don't want to compete, who just are gonna bow down and no, come in, pop your stuff, know who you are, let's go.
Hey, and if you shut me down, shut me down. But I need you to show me first. Like listen, hey, it is what it is. But after obviously, the the last game was you like, oh, it's over. Because I feel like,
man, the last game, it was bittersweet for sure.
Yeah.
But Nene, when I tell you, it was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Because now I could just be a mom and be a student.
Yeah.
Even though that was still hard to juggle, I just didn't have that third thing, like that third weight just boggling me down. Now instead of that third component, it's just two, right? Versus the one. But no, for sure, it was bittersweet because it's like you all my life with a basketball player, like you play ball, especially when you do AAU, you're traveling. When you play with the high school team, you play X amount of games per season. Then you got like it's a lot, and so like that's what a good chunk of my life has been dedicated to a sport, and I never really had the flexibility or time, or maybe I did, and it was just going to require me to sacrifice certain things, but it was just hard to juggle other things while being a student athlete, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to stay on top of your grades. But even if I wanted to do like internships or whatever the case may be, that was difficult to do.
Yeah.
Or just kind of not, or think about all the other things, because sometimes you're just so in the moment, like focused on that thing, which is basketball, because it consumes you to a degree.
Yeah. It consumes you a whole lot.
But yeah, it was a weight lifted off my shoulders for sure. I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
it was bittersweet for me too. I was like, it is over with, cause
Yeah,
um
no, because like it's crazy. I mean, because you came in like you were really good. Like you and Angie were really really good. Like I mean, you guys had both two different styles of play
yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
different skill sets. But no, like for to see you kind of like not be able to play. I know like if you were able to play your 4 years, like you would have done like special things at Arkansas State for sure, for sure.
Yeah, and I was a little disappointed because I'm like, I know, like on paper, trash for sure, but like, because it's just the injury. At the injury, I'm just like, you know what? Listen, like I kept
Yeah.
showing up, but I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed because
Yeah,
you did
yeah.
so many
I mean, and
like
it's
the
hard,
same.
but that shows a lot about your character, like to still show up knowing, you know what I mean? Because it has to be a little defeating knowing that
Yes,
you're hurt and you can't do anything but cheer from the sideline, and you've invested so much of your life to basketball, and
right.
now I'm just here, like, for moral support, really.
Moral support, showing up, like yeah, like this ain't
Because
this is not how
I'm
I
a
had
part
my
of the
life
team, so I
planned.
want to show you.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
this is not how I set my
yeah,
life up, but it is
yeah,
what it is. But
yeah,
after, so like, how did transitioning like that last game? You know, you obviously had go be a mom and graduate college, but after that,
yeah.
what kind of? Because I don't even know. Like after you left Arkansas State, I don't really know exactly what you did, where you went, if you went back to Memphis, if you didn't.
No, I actually well, I knew long term I didn't want to stay in Jonesboro. It wasn't a city to me that was progressive enough to work
No,
for what I wanted to do or where I
yeah,
wanted to be. It wasn't diverse enough either. But I stayed there for I think like maybe a year or a
yeah,
little under a year. Because at one point I wanted to do physical therapy. I was like, oh well, so my major was chemistry with the emphasis in pre-pharmacy.
okay,
I had decided early on that I wanted to be a pharmacist. And really it was more of my parents who decided that because it sounded good because I was always smart. Like not to toot my own horn, but like I've always like you know how you said your 50% beats a lot of people's 100%? Like
yeah,
it's always kind of been like that. Things have always came like naturally easy for me.
yeah,
So like school, it was never really a challenge. So I was like, okay, well, pharmacy sounds good. Like, and I've always been kind of introverted. So I'm like, okay, I don't have to talk to people that much. Like, I don't have to deal with, the patient side of
yeah.
things. And I was like, I'm pretty smart. Like, I could be a pharmacist. But I was like, do I really want to do that? No. Like, do I really want to go to pharmacy school? Do I really want to take out the extra loans, blah, blah, blah? No, I don't want to do that. So then I said, okay, well, physical therapist, because that kind of gives me a segue into sports in a way. Like maybe I could deal with like rehabbing,
Yeah.
sports specific, whatever. And then I forgot whatever happened with that. And I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this. Because I really didn't think, I didn't do enough research, I don't think.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't stick with that because I'm glad I followed the path of where I
It's like
stay. Um, so I stayed in Jonesboro for a little bit less than a year. I actually ended up getting a job as a research assistant. We were on campus. We were trying to build a device to detect explosives. So I was like the first step of analysis. It was some government funded program, and I
okay.
was like the first step of analysis, having to like sample these samples of like volatile chemicals like PTN, TNT, all these things, all the nerdy stuff.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And so we were quote unquote trying to build a device to detect explosives. And I was like, how does this like transfer to the real world? Like,
Yeah.
is this something? Because I knew it was a contract and I knew that it was not going to last that long. And I was like, okay, what else can I do to get my foot in the door? I ended up applying for Unilever, which was in Jonesboro. At first, it was called Alberto Culver, and then they were bought out by a company called Unilever,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
they make They make consumer goods, so like hair care products, skincare products, all the things that you see in like big box retailer stores, Walmart, Target, blah blah blah. I worked as a chemist for them on a contract. Yeah. And so that's kind of how I really, and I always, actually prior to that, like my mom always made sure I had a job in the summertime. So
Yeah.
I had work experience. So I knew, kind of how to communicate, kind of how to
Yeah.
navigate that. But using my degree in Jonesboro, that's when I used my degree when I worked for Unilever as a chemist.
Okay. And so that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was like, cause I didn't know, cause I don't even know what I was
Yeah,
doing.
no, I stayed for a little under a year, and then that contract was up, and I ended up moving back to Memphis, trying to figure out, okay, well, do I really want to go to pharmacy school? Maybe so, because I was like, as a chemist, you make, I would say maybe now. Back then, they were paying like 40, maybe 45 to 65,000, depending on your
Like an
experience.
intro chemist, or just like a chemist, like just that's the max.
QC chemist, so quality control. So
Control.
quality
Okay.
control. But
Okay.
even R&D sometimes, but they would start you out at about 45.
Oh, okay.
45.
Gotcha.
And you can make up to like 60, 65.
Oh, I thought they listen. I thought a chemist made more than that. Like a
No, that's the thing. No, no, you don't.
yeah, I thought they weighed way more than that.
No,
Oh
it
my.
sounds like a great, oh, you're a chemist,
Yeah, that sounds so
No.
important.
It sounds important, right? No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. You make it no. So I knew like, okay. I mean, but it was good experience for me.
Yeah,
I feel
for
like
sure.
everything, like even like I always tell people, because with my son, basketball taught me, even though I did have to work in the summer times because my mom wanted to make sure I had that experience.
Yeah.
Basketball taught me so much. I mean,
Yes.
teaches you discipline. Um, I remember at Arkansas State, it just teaches you how to work with different types of people from all walks of life. I
Yeah.
remember, oh gosh, who was it? Veronica Smith. I remember because she was from East St. Louis. I
Yeah.
knew nothing about East St. Louis. Okay,
Yes.
I didn't know that it was like
It's bad.
it was rough. I
Yeah.
didn't know it was that rough. And so I remember we were rooming. It was me, Lindsay, Schloop, and Veronica. And Veronica kind of always has stuff going on, but
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of, and so I was like, and she was so adamant about not sleeping by the door. And
Yes.
Schloop, for the life of her, could not understand, like, why is she so adamant?
I
Like,
mean,
she's
yeah.
just trying to be dramatic or a drama queen.
Yeah.
And us not really, and me, I'm like, I mean, who cares? Like, whatever. But I did think it was a little dramatic, but
Yeah.
me,
Right.
I've always been kind of like nonchalant. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, whatever. Um, but no, it goes back to her like being in East St. Louis and like her being shot
Got
at.
it.
Like
Yeah.
you
And
don't want to sleep by the door, and I was
yeah.
like, oh, like these folks. Some of these people that we played with experienced trauma,
Trauma.
and we
Yeah.
didn't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they
Yeah.
come from totally different backgrounds, and or they might have different political beliefs. It was a lot. Like basketball teaches you how to become one as a team, like go to that come and go as one,
Yeah. For
but
sure.
you can still be so different, so
Right.
different.
So you can be so different and still come together for one thing, and that one thing is
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah,
But we also
yeah.
don't. And I feel like we also didn't. And I don't know if other people or other teams do it, but like we also don't. We kind of assume almost a little bit about people's backgrounds instead of like really knowing like where people come from. Like it's
You
people
don't
that
know.
you just don't know, and you don't think to ask those questions. Of course, like you 16, like I'm not asking you like
Ask
what
it.
what's your
Yeah, yeah,
background.
yeah. Like you don't ask. Like you just assume because you think
Yeah,
your life is the norm because
right.
that's all you know. And so I'm
Yeah,
like, oh well, this you just think it's the norm and not understanding like so many people. Everybody's situation is
it's
different.
different. It's
Everybody
really
like
different. It's different.
you see everybody's situation is different, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. It
that's
really
why
it teaches you how to know your personnel, like on the court, like
for
you have to
sure.
know your personnel. I'm
Yeah,
not giving you the ball on this wing, blah 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 blah. If I know you're not gonna catch it and shoot, and I know you can't knock down the three,
right,
I'm gonna wait.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you
know your
gotta know your
personnel.
personnel. Like I learned that
Yeah,
at a
and you
young
have to
age.
in any work in any life situation, you need to
That
know your
part.
personnel.
You got to know, even
So
in your
yeah,
own family, you got to know your personnel. I can't
no,
bark.
for real.
Right. I
All
can't.
three of my kids are totally different.
Yep.
Like they have different personalities.
Yep.
Everybody. The last one, he's an OG. He's a thug. Memphis all day long. Even though he's raised in Texas in the suburban, like he don't care.
He don't care. Listen.
He don't care. He does not care.
No.
No.
Well, you gotta learn your personality. Your personality and personality and your family. Like you just gotta know. And how to approach,
Yeah.
like you gotta approach somebody like example, like I remember it was me and Jabbar's dating, but like, you know, and people are raised different. So like me and my brother we are confrontational. Our voice is gonna like we gonna raise our voice to get our point across. Like that's the type of
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how we talk to each other. And so Jabari shows
Yeah.
up and is like, are y'all mad? I'm like, no, this is how we talk. What
This
you
is
mean?
dysfunctional. What are we doing? This is how we're communicating?
This is how we communicate. But then you carry that stuff into your marriage. So I'm thinking like, bro, why your feelings hurt, bro? I'm just saying, like, I don't not
I'm
like
just telling
you.
you how I feel.
Exactly, like,
I'm just being honest with you.
right? And it's like you screaming at me, and I'm like, bro, like, get out your feelings. Like, it's just all that kind of stuff. But you just don't realize just how
Yeah.
people, even if, as a head coach now, I'm thinking about like, I know I was probably like the way I responded, because like head coaches are used to responding. So like I think everybody would like either like turn and I remember I got in trouble. Like I turned, like people, everybody was like when Coach B was talking, they would like nod the head to make sure and that would give him reassurance to know that you're listening. And I wouldn't nod my head, and it drove him crazy. But I still heard what he said, and I just would go and do it. And he would be
Nene, no, this brings me back. I remember when
and
we
some
were playing. I don't remember what game it was, but your aggressive communication, like you pulled, like it wasn't. I think like you pulled my jersey to get me to turn a certain way
I
or get me
remember
to do something. I
get you
don't.
to a spot.
I said, and you know I'm so it ain't even now non-confrontational because you can get the smoke if you want the smoke, but I'm just very chill.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, don't ever touch me in your life, bro. Like, don't touch me like that again in your life.
No, but yeah, I remember Jess was like, bro, you ain't gotta do all that. Just tell me. He's like, don't do that
Yeah,
ever
yeah.
again.
I'm
He's
like,
like,
you
just tell me where I need to
don't do
go.
all that. Just tell me. Like you can. I'm very good at like communicating and comprehending. Do not grab me. Like,
I was like, I got you. He was like, do not girl. Oh yeah, I remember. I remember that. It's hilarious. I was like, oh yeah, I got you. But I had to catch myself now though, Jazz. Like when I'm coaching these little kids, I be putting them, moving them into. I was like, I gotta stop because I'm being here fighting somebody
I
mommy
already
daddy.
know because I feel like I remember when you did. It wasn't like a aggressive, like I'm trying to
No, yeah.
fight or anything. It was
No.
just like I want. I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Jess was like, do not put your hands on me, ma'am.
let me swing this rap back because you know I stay with my hair down. Let me swing this rap back.
Yeah, I think I tugged at your jersey like by your waist or something. I was like, bro, get over there. But yeah, I'll be doing these. I was like, Jabbar, I gotta stop touching these kids, so they probably be like, bro, what are you doing? Because I had the other day, the little girl was getting in the spot and took her whole arm. Get over here, like get over here.
Yeah. Now, coaches for sure have to have patience and understanding because kids come from different backgrounds, how they
Yeah,
respond, how they
yeah.
communicate, all the things. Like that's why I don't think I could be a coach, but I don't want to be a coach. I would no.
Yeah,
All my it's weird because a lot of my old coaches wanted me to coach or be a
yeah,
teacher. I'm like I have patience for my kids because
yeah,
those like I have an affinity for them because they're my kids, but nah.
yeah, yeah. And they got me coaching. Did I tell you they got me coming over here to private school? Did I tell you?
You told me. Yeah, you told me.
My
Yeah, so
God.
I said, hats off to you. Because, I mean, you would make an amazing coach for sure.
But
But,
they are middle school net, like this is like they third and fourth sport, so can't nobody really play. Which is I've never been that person. Like you cannot play, but you can still be coached kind of situation. Like you're not gonna be
yeah,
out here looking like a Division I athlete. I get that. My thing is just effort. Just give the effort. Like just go hard.
effort. That's all it
That's
is.
it.
It's
That's all it
effort.
is effort.
It's effort.
And I had
As
to kick
long as you are
somebody off the court.
coachable and you give the effort, you might not have the skill. We can work on that.
Yes.
Effort, coachable. That's all I
So
need.
yeah. So the other day,
Yeah.
I probably pissed somebody. Somebody parent probably gonna be trying to talk to me in the next couple of days.
Nene,
Cause she was
what you
wearing
say
me
to the
out,
baby?
Jazz.
What you
She
do to the
wearing me
baby?
out. Like she's a bigger girl. She's like 7th grade. She got a pacemaker defibrillator already in 7th grade. She's a big girl, and I get it.
Oh.
But you don't put your kid in a sport to get them in shape. This is in season. You do that outside of season, and especially the situation she is. Like, you don't do that. But anyway, we're in the middle of a drill. Her person runs to set a screen. She turns and just walks. I let it slide for the first time. I said, Jared, we pick your feet up. You got to run. You can't be out here walking. Like, everybody's scoring on you because you're walking. She did it again. I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I said, get out the court. Get out the court. And I said, you gonna go over here and it was like 4, I think practice ended at 5, it was like 4 something. I said, you gonna run for the rest of practice. And so she got like her little thing, so she'll like be there because she's tired. I said, that's fine, just walk. If you get tired, I just want you to keep moving. Just walk. Oh,
Yeah.
Bro, but you're not gonna be out here.
I bet she was.
She is like, but you're not gonna be out here not giving effort because you told me. Well, then just if you tired, just say you tired, then go sit down. But or go get
that
out.
Was one of. Yeah, I couldn't stand it, especially when we played. Like we would practice, and then people wouldn't make the time. Stop playing with me. We're not running again.
That's what we
make the time.
Make the time because we finna be out here. Like make the time. But yeah, they got so. Yeah. And I'm not the head coach. I'm the assistant coach. So that's I have to check my personality because now
you gotta check. Yeah.
Because now I have to. I can't overstep my boundaries with the head coach and what she got going on. So I don't even bring a whistle to practice because I know me and I know I will take over practice. But it's teaching me like I can't. I'll suggest stuff and then I have to figure out like I can't be like, bro, you should be doing this. So I'd be like, maybe we should do this, that, another. But anyway, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
No, I can imagine. That's why I never coached. I can imagine. Like, hats off to all coaches because to be a good coach, it takes a lot of patience, intentionality, strategy. You have to be a student of the game, like even more than a player.
And then these kids know, and then like they can figure out. And they might listen. I don't think they listen to it, but if they do, but they can figure out like when somebody really genuinely wants to teach you basketball, who don't, because like I have no affiliation. My kids don't go to the school. Like I'm really out here just teaching these kids, but they can tell like they can because I've had one. Is it a good
school though? Side note, is it a good school? Because I mean, since you're okay, I was like,
no, it's a good school academically. Yes, sports.
Coaching,
no,
like could you get a scholarship for your kid? I mean, could your kids go?
I think so. They offer little perks. They offer that, but so, but they can kind of figure it. So one of them, they can kind of figure out like, maybe the head coach is like, her body language is sometimes is not so pleasant, and they pick up on that. And it just and I don't want to be there because now they like, they didn't took a whole poll, Jazz, a whole poll. One of the girls took a poll on the bus and was like, and I know the little girl, and I was like, what did you do? She's like, I took a poll to see which coach they like better. I said, bro, you can't be doing that. I said, you can't do that.
Oh no. But you know what? But they probably see like the commitment and like how even though you're probably a tougher coach, it's kind of like my mom because she's a tough teacher.
Yeah.
And all like those bad kids, they love her.
Yes.
And the ones that gave her the most, like they love her because they knew she cared.
Yes.
And they know you care and they know you have a passion, love for the game. So
I said, girl, you can't be out there. Just over there politicking. Bro, sit down. Trying to go take a poll.
We want Coach Nene. We want Coach Nene.
At all. But anyway, but after get back on subject. After after Memphis, how did you end up? Because you ended up working for a company in Texas doing lead.
Yeah. So
how did you get to Texas? Is what I want to know. Yeah. How did you get to Texas?
So how I got to Texas, I fell in love, girl, and I got to Texas.
Yeah, I forgot Jazz. Hey, disclaimer: Jazz loves love. She loves love. Yeah.
I do. You know what? No. And we don't have to go into that. But in the previous podcast, I think it was Jackie, and I do want to retract that statement. I think I said, I love, and I if something ever happened, I would want to get married again. 10 out of 10. No, don't recommend. I love my husband. I'm not getting married again. Not happening. I say it. I stand on this. What is today?
And y'all low key was giving me a hard time. Y'all low key was giving me a hard time.
Listen, I live a beautiful life. My husband is amazing. However, the level of selflessness that it takes to be a wife and a mother, 10 out of 10, not doing it again.
Not
Nobody
doing
is
it.
getting this level of selflessness. Not happening. Just wanted to throw that disclaimer out there. But I ended up in Dallas due to my now husband. So I went from Memphis. I was working as a chemist
Yeah.
for a consumer goods company, and then I moved to Columbus, Ohio, because he was my boyfriend then at the time. Um, he went to the Ohio State
Oh, I
University,
forgot.
and I was working for a pharmaceutical company at the time, and I was doing like quality assurance. It was me, like I was really just trying to, because playing sports, you don't really get a chance to figure all the things out of what
Yeah.
you want to do in life, or
Right.
sometimes it's just not at the forefront of your mind.
No.
And so I was really figuring out as I went, and chemistry was cool, but I knew that it hit like there was a plateau. Like I'm like, okay, I don't want to be in the lab my whole career. I
Yeah.
want to be able to be have a diverse skill set and do a multitude of things. And so I'm like, okay. So I went to Columbus. I worked for a pharmaceutical company, so different industry, and I worked as a quality assurance associate. And so that was more of, making sure it was for pharmaceuticals. So it was very detailed, just making sure processes, procedures, things were up to a quality standard.
Okay.
And so I ended up, we stayed in Columbus for 3 years. It was extremely cold. Didn't like the cold. Columbus, Midwest, it's a little, I don't know,
Yeah,
it's a
I'm a
little
Midwest,
different.
and
Like
I'm from the
I didn't
Midwest.
jive. I didn't jive with Columbus, man. Like Columbus was cool. We
Yeah.
met some really dope people, but it was just different. It
Right.
was different. I'm a down
Yeah.
south girl, and I'm so glad that we ended up moving. So that's how we got to Texas, because I was like, okay, I don't want to stay here. He's done with residency.
Oh,
Let's
that's what's
figure
up.
out like where do we have, like what are our choices. And
Yeah.
so we landed in Dallas, and Dallas has actually been a blessing for us. So in Dallas, I didn't have a job right away because, like I said, he finished up residency. We moved down here because he's a physician, so
Yeah.
he works with a clinic down here or whatever. And I was just trying to, kind of fill out different things, figure out where I was going to go, because I knew I didn't want to do quality assurance
Yeah.
for my next career. And so I ended up doing project management, and they wanted a project manager. And with project management, there's so many different facets that you can take, but they wanted someone who had more of a science background, because the projects that I was working on were more tailored towards like science and understanding certain things, all the things, whatever. So I ended up working for a pretty big company down here as a project manager. It was just a contract position,
Yeah.
and then I ended up getting hired full time, and I worked there for 3-4 years, and ended up going to another company doing project management. And I think that I would say project management has been my most fulfilling role,
Yeah.
because it reminds me like of what I've done my whole life, which is
Yeah.
as the point guard, you have to be the general, you have to
Yeah.
be the leader, you're connecting people. And as a project manager, I'm not physically doing the work
All right.
for every department, but every department reports into me, and I'm leading the project. I'm working with different teams, I'm working with different personnel,
Yeah.
having to bring everybody together, understand the bigger vision, the bigger picture, making it digestible for everybody else on the team.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, like this is what I'm built for. Like this is
First, yeah.
what basketball
Yeah, that's
prepared me
bad.
for.
That's you being running the floor,
Yeah,
running the
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that has been my most fulfilling career thus far. And then, corporate is corporate, and I said,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm
Corporate
done
is
with corporate. I don't want to do any other politic and any other bootlicking anymore. After the 3 kids, I'm like, all right, I just want to focus on my family for now, and that's what I'm doing.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, corporate is going to corporate. But I feel like that's the closest thing, because you're never gonna get that atmosphere again. You're never gonna get that, you know, competitiveness or that game like situation. You're never gonna get that kind of
Oh
atmosphere ever again in your life unless you're on the
no,
field.
and that's why I think for like a part of it, that's kind of why I like project management
Mm-hmm.
too, because you have these depending on what company. I work for some pretty big companies, so you have these audacious goals that you want to accomplish, and now it's like, all right, you want to hit, you got to make sure you're within budget, within time, within scope, within all the things. So I'm like, okay, like this is a goal, like we have to hit these goals. This is like a competition. Like this, my team has to execute and execute well. And I can honestly say, like, basketball prepared me a lot for that, because it's, you got to be able to communicate, you got to execute, you got to be able to lead people. You can't, just always, if there's an issue, you got to be able to conflict resolution, you got to be able to talk to people, all the things. So basketball definitely shaped me in a way and prepared me for every position that I've had.
Yeah. I would say the same. Yeah, you gotta know, and you gotta know your role. You gotta know other people's roles. Know what they're capable of doing. Know your personnel.
Know your personnel.
You can't send Sally 10 different tasks, and she can't.
I'm like, listen, Linda, the vision is here. You understand? We're here to make the company money. You are too caught up in the detail. We don't care about this. If this is not a no, if this is not a showstopper, move on. Right. And I love you, but we have to move on, okay? Because we need to be within time and then within budget.
Yeah, and that's but you got to think about, like, and I go back to, like, even the type of player you are kind of reflects how you do your work. Like, you know what I'm saying? How you do your work. Because I feel like, okay, you were a point guard, so you knew you had to. And I was recruited as a point guard, so I was a point guard my whole life until I got to Arkansas State. So
I didn't know you were a point guard.
Yes, I was a point guard until I got to Arkansas State, and then I grew like late. I was like a late bloomer. And so then they used me.
Because you like 6'2".
I'm not 6'2". But then I got there, and then I'm like, oh, I could be a 2, 3, or a 4. And so, like, you can know every position. You be a utility, like, so I'm a you. It's like I can do a little bit of everything, and I feel like and I just feel like I can do everything anyway. But like, I feel like Jazz, you muted yourself. Oh, there you go. And so, like, I feel like I can do anything and everything now. But, like, I just feel like, because sometimes I feel like people are like, oh, you're athletes, or no, all athletes aren't just that great. Like, they, like, they're not all athletes that we play with when the hard workers. They weren't hard workers. Right. They didn't take it serious. So, like, I hate when people are like, oh, she's a Division I athlete. She was, bro, I know a lot of Division I athletes that was terrible. That didn't have work ethic.
Work ethic terrible. Just
character was trash. Like, no.
And
so I just feel like it translates as well, like what type of player you were on the court to what type of player or what type of person you are off the court as well, and what you can kind of do. And so I try to stress that to my niece to be like, bro, you got to be a utility player. Like, you got to be able to get in there. I said, because I was trying to tell her the other day, I was like, I wasn't always first of all, I was hurt, but, like, I was always the best player on the court. I said the only reason why I stayed on the court is because I could do 4 positions. If I had to back up Jazz, I could back up Jazz for a hot second, and then I could go to the next one. I'm like, your size, you got to be able to do a little bit of everything. Like, you can't be stuck in that role.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that's critical for anybody. Like, you have to be able, like, to have a diverse skill set. Like, you can't just hone, like, one specific thing. No. Especially in this day and age. And I preach that to my son, because he's a freshman. He's playing varsity at a 6A school, and he's starting. And, well, I say my son, like, he's pretty good. And, I'm a tough critic. He's pretty decent, rather. His defense is really good. His defense is really good. So that's really why he made varsity. But as far as his offense, he has a lot of work to go in terms of just his pace, understanding, like, being a consistent knockdown shooter, even ball handling. And I'm like, dude, but the reason why he's starting, he's a Swiss Army knife. He do a little bit of everything. He can do a little bit of everything. And he doesn't look out of place, even as a freshman at a 6A school. I'm like, damn. Okay.
And then when so that's something to keep on the floor, because then I know I can at least depend on him to get rebounds or whatever, get defense, like, get skills. That's what we need.
Nene, he's guarding the best player.
Yeah. See, we need that. That's what we need.
He has the toughest assignment as a freshman, and he's a true. Now everybody reclass, so you're playing with 20-year-olds. He just turned 15. He just turned 15, and he's guarding the best player on the court. That is wild to me. That is wild that my freshman is guarding the best. To me, that says, not to talk about the kids on the team, but that says a lot about your team. Now, the little freshman, he hadn't even been in the weight room like that to guard, your 4-star, 5-star guards. That's wild.
And I would feel some type of way if I was on the team. Like, bro, y'all gonna let this freshman come in here and do this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Competitively,
Listen,
like. But I don't know if kids got that mentality no more. I don't think kids get that mentality no more.
Yeah, that's what we're going through now. Give me 1 second, Nene. I think they're walking in.
Okay.
So, okay. Are you gonna edit this part out?
Yeah, I'll pause it. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Okay, they're good.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know if kids is built like that no more. But is it people hating on them already on the team or not?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So he starts, Nene. They have like 14 players, 14, 15 players. He starts as a freshman. They have a JV locker room and they have a varsity locker room. So his coach, he's a new coach, he has them vote the players in, like, for the locker room. Tell me why he has not been voted in the locker room yet. And he's a starter.
They for sure.
And you got seniors that are in the locker room who don't play, who don't even play. They don't play, Nene, but yet they're in the locker room.
Wow.
But you got your starter, the guy you actually need to win. He's not even in the locker room. So how are we supposed to go to war together and we can't even come together in the locker room? That is wild.
That's wild to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
That nobody else was, even then, like, if I knew, like, to step up, be like, bro, y'all need to vote him in. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like kids ain't gonna say nothing to their peers about nothing no more. Like, cause I would have said something to my peer, like, bro, like, she need to be, even if y'all don't like her, but like, or like it, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he's gonna win. He helping us win games.
He's just like a goofy, fun-loving kid. Like, he don't even have an ego. He's so humble. Like, they just, it's hate, but I tell them all the time, I'm like, you just keep working and you let them, like, every time in practice, I would let them know.
Yep, for sure.
You're in the locker room, I'm gonna dominate you every time.
Every single time. I'm gonna go ahead.
Every time. Yep. Every time.
And I'm gonna talk trash to you at practice now. What?
He's not a trash talker. I was never a trash talker. So
yeah. Before we wrap it up, what are some like key takeaways that you wish that the listeners like grab onto? What some nuggets that you want somebody to take away from this conversation?
Key takeaways.
Or you can add something that you didn't get to say. You can add something in.
I don't know. I mean, we talked about a lot, but I would say be intentional. Be intentional. I think one of the things, like, the vision and the plan that I had for myself, everything kind of spiraled in a way. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. But I do feel like when I was more intentional about the things that I wanted, everything started to happen, right? In the way that it should. So I would say be intentional about the plan. And we didn't really touch on kind of like, as being an athlete, how you don't get a chance to network on campus as much. I feel like that's one of the things that I wish I would have done more of at Arkansas State. It's just, networking more with some of the staff, some of the people, just things of that nature. So you can, kind of figure out, it's just good to put a name with a face. People know who you are, know what they do, because you just never know in what walk of life you'll need somebody, or what connection may bring you. So I would say definitely network, get connected. Like, don't stay in your bubble of just the basketball team.
Right.
But then just also, like, take the life lessons that comes with basketball, the discipline, the knowing your personnel, having a diverse skill set, because that's going to just help you further propel you in life. So making sure just to stay focused, and the work is the work. And that's what I'm trying to teach my son. I remember I was taking biology, and biology is easy to me. It's just rote memorization, to be honest. I mean, some concepts you have to understand, but it's a lot of memorization. And we would be on the road, and I would literally take my my study materials, and I was studying. People were looking like, "Man, you studying at the table?" I'm like, "Yes, because I need to make an A on this test. I am serious. I need to make an A on this test." even like my world history class, like, and I fell in love with history, dude. Like, we had to write. You know how tests are like ABC, like you have multiple choice. No, like this guy, we literally had to know every time, different time points in history, different people, what they did, who they were, the significant role, and we had to write it out.
Oh
He would just
no.
give you the name, and I
Mm.
had to write it out. So it required a lot of,
Yeah.
like just intention behind the studying
Yeah.
and everything. So I would say, man, like just really, and what I noticed in those classes, because in some classes, like I said, my major was chemistry. I fumbled, and I did fumble biochemistry. I had to take it over. I remember that. And then the last time I took it, I got a B. But the first time I got a D. And the reason why is because I didn't put in the work.
Yeah.
I didn't put in the work. The work is the work. There's no way that you can undo it. You have to put in the work in order to reap great results, good results. You have to put in the work.
Yep.
And that's what I try to teach my kids. My son, who's going through the process now, the work is the work. You cannot get around being intentional and strategic about the work. So
you cannot run from the work.
You can't run from the work.
No, can't run from the work. Well, any last comments? Because that's all I got for today's episode. Unless you got something.
Any last comments?
Any last comments?
What?
I don't know. Let me see. What do we didn't pick on? Last comment. I guess we did. What is it? How do you run your being a point guard? How do you run your household? Like, what does that look like? What does motherhood in a nutshell look like at the Nolen residence?
Chaos. No. For me, my whole because I was project manager, point guard thing. So my thing is efficiency. Yeah. I am big on running things efficiently, and I think that being efficient comes with being detail oriented and being organized. Yeah. So those are my two big things when it comes to the household. Is we have to be. I need to understand. Have the details, what's going on, but also get organized, have organization, so that it just makes everybody's life easier. The kids, Harper has dance, AJ has school, all the things that he has to do, projects that I'm doing, all the weeks, spirit weeks, all the things. So staying organized and then landing, man, that's Nene, just wait until these boys get into sports. It's so much behind it now. Like, I think that sports now has become so much, like, how like you had the guys that were in the hood, like, I'm trying to get it out the mud, and the AAU teams would pick up those guys or whatever, and so you would be able to see like that talent. And now I feel like, man, basketball is really becoming like, if you don't have the resources and the money, you're really not going to get seen, because it's becoming like a money grab.
Oh, that's what I'm.
Yeah, you have to have resources. You have to have all the things now. And I'm like, wow. Like, everybody has a trainer now. Like, back then, we didn't have trainers. Everybody has a trainer now, a conditioning coach. Like, all these agility coach. I'm like, sheesh. So it's really managing all of that, staying on top of it, staying organized, detail oriented. Man, faith, really big on our faith. Like, I tell my son, especially going through high school, like, you got to know who you are. And I know you're figuring it out, but know who you are. You understand the word. You have a relationship with God, because that's the person that you can lean on when all else fails. That's the only person you'll be able to lean on. Yeah. So just really, man, I run a tight ship, to be honest. But I'm not like super old school in a way. Like, I'm not gonna say I'm like a mix between gentle and like old school. Because I want to understand and communicate and hear your feelings, but also, like, if I'm just like dead set, it's a no. It is what it is. Yeah.
I'm more Joe Jackson kind of style situation. No.
Oh no. So my husband is Joe Jackson. He's diabolical. My husband. You know Avery. Yes. He is Joe Jackson. He's going to rah. He's the yeller. Listen. You know Avery. He's Joe Jackson through and through. I'm a balance. I can get there. I always tell Landon, like, don't where I'm, like, don't play with me. But
because I can't even remember you yelling at any of us. Like, I yell more than anybody, but like, I feel like I had never heard you yell.
I'm not a big yeller though. Like I'm not a
Yeah.
yeller. I'm gonna communicate with you and try to get you to understand.
Yeah.
But my thing is that now I will write you off. Like if you don't, if I see there's no hope.
Yeah, I have to learn because I follow the Avery. I do. I fall on the Avery side of things, and I have to remember and have to remind myself because Houston he's athletic, and I can see he's like light years ahead of his age, and he's a pretty smart little kid, and he is me made over. So I have to remind myself, like I am.
He's an improved version of you.
He is.
He's an improvement of your design.
And so like he's that kid, but he gonna tell, like, you know, I tell somebody, like, he gonna tell me, like, Mom, you can't. Why are you screaming at me? Like, don't.
Yeah, like I don't receive that well. Like that's not going to help me. You yelling at me, how is this helping me?
So then
like,
I have
tell
to
me what you want me to
and
do.
Then I have to be like,
it to me in a way that I can digest it.
Yeah,
like stop yelling at me.
Yeah, so you're right. And so like we'd be at baseball, we'd be practicing baseball, and I'm like, Houston, because he's that kid, like. He's that kid. He knows that he can get it like away with it. You know, like the kids, like they know, like I can do this, but like I don't really have to go give that much effort. So I'm just gonna.
He's good. He's natural. Like you know how you say you're 50% beast.
Yes, but he that kid that's gonna play into it and be like, yeah, I can do like. And so I have like, he said, stop being that. He's like, don't, and I have to like. Now I can't yell. I just be like, you know what? If you're not gonna pay attention today, we just gonna go home. And that hurts his feelings way more than me yell. Like he's like, I don't want to go home. I said, nope. I said, I said the other day, I said, since you don't want me yelling at you, I said, we're just going to go home.
Yeah. Let's go. Because at this point, you're not doing what I asked you to do.
Yeah, because he got and he got honest. He got a rebuttal. Every time I correct him, he got a rebuttal about it. He's like, well, I am doing this. I'm just like, okay, let's just go home.
Yeah. It's
like,
time.
I told him, scoot up to the piece. I can still see the plate. I'm like, bro.
Nene, that's so funny. You're getting it back tenfold.
Yeah,
You're getting it back tenfold. Yep.
So now half the time I don't even be getting mad. I just be like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. You just know you're getting it back, and it's fine.
It is. Yep. That's it. That's I'm getting it all the way back. But anyway. Well, thanks for being on the podcast, Jazz.
Thanks for having me. It was different being on the other side, being interviewed. But yeah, no, it was good. Good conversation. I mean, we can talk for hours.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, that's game.
If I'ma start it, you know I'ma finish it. I'ma show all of you folk with the businesses. Walk